Pangilinan, you are not detaining him for a crime. You are detaining him because you want to protect him. And that does not follow the 6, 9, 18 or 36 hours of detention. You cannot measure the protection of a child by the number of hours that you detain him. No such. That would be idiotic. That you can protect the child by detaining him for 9 hours because he committed just a less grave offense. There's no, it does not follow any reasoning kung ganun. Reason why they are taken into custody by the police authorities is not because wala ngang crime. Sinasabi nyo, 15, sabi ni ng balaod ni yung batas ni Pangilinan. So, you're detained there, if you're a minor, because you are supposed to be protected from the vengeance and the retaliation of the family and the other guys. It has contributed to a lot of turmoil sa criminal justice system natin. I beg to disagree even by some of the justices. Hindi kasi nila alam sa babae. Na kung itong mga to na dumaan lang ito baski mayor ng munisipyo, alam nila how hard it is really to not control but to give everybody his legal space and his social space and his not. The 300% ang rise na.
Ang rise, no? 300%.
And I'm sure it will rise to 600. Why? Because he's released. And the essence of the penal sanction, na matakot yung bata na gumawa ng kalukuhan because there's always the sanction, the punitive sanction na wala. And most of them, ito ang hindi nila talaga nakuha. Ito ang, and I would say that it's short-sighted. Most of them, because of the prevalence of poverty in this country, and there's no denying about it, is that most of them come from the poor families. And most of the time, they come from dysfunctional families. Then they are released for a crime. The following day, because of a law, they return to the same dysfunctional family. Oh, what do you expect? Wala kasing mandatory na he goes to a correctional facility na wag na ibalik doon itong mga bata na ito, mga babae, maybe they're being abused, raped, then naglalakad dyan. Pati babae, sumasali nga sa, dito, pati sa kita mas TV Patrol. Sumasali sa rambulan. There's something serious when a girl, a child, such as 13, 14, sumasali sa, there is something seriously wrong in the environment sa family. And yet, ang practice ngayon, pagka umaga, they go with the gangs, they fight, there's a rumble going on, they get to be arrested, tapos, pagkabukas, release sila. Actually, it's the sign, it's the symptoms of our time because ngayon makikita mo may mga babae sumasali na sa banatan. And yet they failed to realize that simply because I said you wanted to copy a law that's not ours, really. It's an American law. And maybe it's good for the Americans. But it's not good for our culture. It's not good for our people. It is not good for our times. It is not applicable in this generation. Ayan ang hindi ninyo nakuha. Hindi talaga na. Baski mga judges, tanungin mo. Ito mga judges, hindi lang maka-articulate. Hindi sila, they cannot talk about it openly. But dito sa Davao, 4 judges came to me and they were complaining long before we realized the adverse effect of the system na inimbento ng Congress. Na, ganon ang nangyari. So may breakdown sa discipline because what is the fundamental reason of what is the essence of discipline is the fear of being punished. So pag wala ng disiplina, wala talaga. Sasabog. Yan ang mahirap. And yung ibalik mo doon, i-release mo because you do not have enough facilities to house these children who come from dysfunctional families. And they are thousands. They are thousands. Baka sabihin ninyo, magtayo ka lang ng isa o dalawang 300 room facility. You are dreaming. You are dreaming. Kada kanto dito. Maybe dito kasi takot. Hindi masyado nagdi-display. Kasi walang you utterly disregarded the element of discipline in a society. Wala talaga, nawala dyan sa balaod na yung batas na. Basket tayo sa nanay ko. Kung hindi ako natatakot doon sa hampas ng nanay ko, and I remember almost every day na nakaluhod ako dyan sa altar. And you dread it because sometimes you are sent to bed without, hindi ka papakainin. Kasi takot kayo ng disiplina. Wala yan eh.
Wala na yun.
Sa Amerika walang disiplina because maano mo lang ang anak mo, mahampas mo lang sa kama, tatawag 911. So child abuse. Di tignan mo doon, di pati yung nanay pati tatay na sinashotgun.
Eskwelahan.
Yung nanay natutulog, sinashotgun. Hindi mo masabi. Mali talaga. Mali.
Hindi ma-repeal yan, Mayor?
Ayan ko, they're taking their own sweet time to do it. Ako, as mayor, Senator Pangilinan is my friend. Yung mga congressman, pati senator, magpumasa, are my friends. But you know, as mayor, I do not have the luxury of silence. Why? Because I have a duty to the people who elected me as mayor. I have to articulate the sentiments of most of yung mga judges, pati yung mga police. Those connected with the peace and order of a city or a province.
Grabe.
Hindi nila binasa yan eh. Hindi realistic. Sino ba naman gustong mag-ano ng bata? Ako nga eh. If you want to escape the rigors of my anger, magdala ka lang ng anak mo, pati asawa mo. Because I do not want to humiliate people in front of their wives and children. Pero kung wala, minsan talagang I can be harsh. What can who says about hurting children? Pero hindi yan eh. Because these children would be the guys who will sit here and talk about society tomorrow. Yan ang hindi nyo nakuha. It's not a matter of hating children. That's stupid. It's a matter of pahirapan sila. But you know, you have to mold the young because they would be the pastor and the mayor who would be talking about society 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Ngayon kung ganun walang disiplina, maglaki ang mayor na hindi niya alam ang disiplin. Instead of 2 asawa, gawin niyang 6. Walang disiplina eh. Kung magnakaw siya ng 10,000, gawain natin 1,000,000. That is not the way how to instill values sa bata eh. Because values could only come after you have laid down the predicate, and that is really the accountability of what you do in this planet. Nawala yan. And discipline pati the sense of accountability of every human being vis-a-vis with his fellow human beings and with how he conducts or behaves himself in a society. I'm glad that I said I'm happy that I can share my. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Sabagay, maybe lang naman. Ako, sabihin ko nyo, wrong kayo. Ako, maybe I'm wrong lang. But me, I'm telling you now, it's a grievous error. To do away with discipline and yung accountability.
Makita mo naman ngayon, Mayor, what's happening around us.
Pag hindi siya takot, there's no sense of discipline in him. There's no sense of accountability. And he will do what he wants. And that it might sound good to you, good looking, long hair ka ngayon in front of itong mga mga konserba, mga libertarian. They never built a nation actually. Paghanap ka ng leader dito, Lee Kuan Yew, kung sino, Marshall Tito, they never built a nation, yung mga libertarians. Yung mga taong may disiplina, gusto mong i-disiplina yung tao niya, they built a nation. Lee Kuan Yew built a prosperous nation. Maybe he did not had to kill anybody, but he was very strict. And he had discipline. Kaya yung nagkasala yung Amerikano na splash paint, scratch car, he was caned. In spite of over the objections of the Americans. Si Contemplacion talagang binitay. Kaya sinunog yung plug nila ngayon, hindi na ako makapunta ng Singapore. I hope they have forgotten that episode. I have long forgiven myself for doing it actually.
Okay, Mayor. Thank you so much for your view once again. You're so enlightened. We continue on. This is a text from Burgos Lee Queen of Antipolo City. Mayor Duterte and Bayani Fernando, ang gusto kong magtandem for 2010 presidential election. Kasi matatapang magtupad ng batas at ang ganitong leadership ang kailangan ng bansa natin para umunlad tayo. Kailangan talaga natin mga Pinoy ang matinding disiplina.
Yung aking tapag-tapa, istorya lang yan. Si Fernando na lang kayo, talagang action yun. Ako isali dyan. Kaya. Yung akin lang, istorya.
Thank you, Mayor. We continue on. This is from Dale of Davao. I salute Mayor Rodrigo Duterte for his firm leadership. Don't mind your critics because they are just jealous because you are good.
Thank you.
Okay. And for Pastor and Mayor, Erap for President in 2010. Any comment?
I don't think Arab is my friend. I would like to say president again. But the Constitution says cannot. Walang second term. When you are elected, kasi nakalagay elected, cannot be elected twice. It's just whether you complete the term or not. You'll just create a constitutional crisis. But Arab is my friend. If it's legal, then without that prohibition, he can be president again. I'd be happy. Pero ako, here and now, not because of anything, until year 2010, Arroyo should be there. We have that commitment also. So, we will see to it that she stays there until year 2010. Unbridled and freed of itong mga kudita.
Pastor, any comments?
Same as Mayor.
Thank you, Pastor. We continue on. This is from Bernadette of Cavite. Good evening, Pastor and Mayor. I was very amazed to hear Mayor Duterte say in his last guesting on Give Us This Day that the only thing he was longing for was the reward coming from Almighty Father. Sana po lahat ng tao, lalo na mga politiko, ay ganyan ang pangarap.
You know, at the end game nito is, life is very short. The earth, they say, is about 5 billion years. So, your existence is just it. So, the end game is, where do you go? Where do you go from here? Ganon yan sa kanta. The specter of hell scares me. But heaven seems to be a very enticing place. Ang problema, if we are qualified to be there. Kaya isa dyan ngayon. And ano naman is the standard would be whether you follow the Ten Commandments. Mukha, dalawa lang ang yan ang mahirap kayo dyan. Ito kasi si Moses Dala pa siya ng Ten Commandments. Sana, huwag na lang. Kung hindi siya nagpunta doon, di wala sana tayong sunod-sunuran. Nothing to be scared.
Thank you, Mayor. Pastor, we will continue on. This is a text from Calamba, Laguna, KLC. Good evening, Pastor. Ano po ang mensahe ninyo sa pilit naninira sa reputasyon ni Mayor Duterte? Salamat po.
Kwan lang, inggit lang. Pero it's, as I told you last, nung nandito ako, it's too late for that. Because 20 years of our mayor's life dedicated to us here can never be destroyed one way or another. It's too late. Too late na yun. Nakabarka na. Hindi na ma-erase yun.
Thank you, Pastor. We continue on. This is from Philip. Good evening, Mayor. Keep up the good work. I admire your style of governance.
Thank you. So you agree with salvaging? It's lawful.
And Mayor deserves all the blessings right now. Kahit yung buong Davao, ibigay natin sa kanya. Kulang mo yan.
Thank you, Pastor.
So if you say may corruption sa if the sentiments of Davaoeños, if I'm articulating all the sentiments of Davaoeños, I can say 71 million Ano lang yun? Kahit ibigay mo lahat yun, kulang pa yun sa ginawa ng ating mayor dito. Of course, he could always say, I'm just doing my duty. But it's beyond that. It's beyond that kasi the Bible says, greater love at no man than this, that a man will lay down his life for his friends. So, minsan-minsan na lang yung tao na is laying down his life for his friends. Like, running after drug lords. Alam mo, delikado yun. Walang matapang na nagle-lay down ng kanilang buhay para sa ganon. So, we are enjoying the peace here.
That's true.
So, hindi na may erase yun. Whatever they say.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Continue on. This is from Bing. I love the way Mayor Duterte handles our city. Thank you, Mayor. Please be healthy and safe. We need you. Okay, Mayor. This is from Venus of Cebu City. Good evening. I'm a Catholic, but I watch Pastor ACQ. Now it's great that you have Mayor Duterte as your guest. Your discussion is interesting. Well, thank you for that. And we continue on. This is from Angel of Ladislawa. Unsa man ang imong masulti, Mayor, nga si Nograles ang possible nga next Speaker of the House?
No comment ako na. I cannot vote anyway. For or against, so there's nothing substantial that I can say about it.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. We continue on. This is from Sunny of Matina, listening through DXRD. Nag-retire na si Major General Boac. Unsay masulti nimo sa iyang performance, Mayor?
Very good. Very good. It was a productive stint dito sa Davao. I would not be able to really to say about his previous assignments, but while he was here, he was performing well.
Yes.
I wish him luck in his retirement. I hope he stays here in Davao. I've heard that he plans to stay here. There are a lot of actually generals na andito pag retire.
Yan La Peña.
Hindi lang nag-iingay, but they are here. And I'm happy that they find Davao City livable for them.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Continue on. This is from Helen of Buhangin. Mayor, mabawasan ang IRA or Internal Revenue Allotment sa matag syudad tungod sa 16 kabagong syudad. Tama ba ang pag-aproba sa Senado nga ang maong mga munisipalidad himuong syudad?
Mali nga kasi dapat yung IRA nilakihan rin na from 200 na ginawa sa nila ng 500. Nako. So, it's really, because of the, malaki yan doon, it's enough for 20 people. But if you add another 20 people to 85, maging maliit yung pie na yan. Ganon yung nangyari. Now, if they can increase the era by legislation, or ilang billion yan, another about 50, maganda. So yung increase ko ngayon, instead of about 100 million plus, it goes down to something like 69. Mabutit na lang sabi ko, yung budget ko, tinimpla ko ng husto on the original amount without the corresponding increase. Marunong talaga ito si Wendell.
Na-foresee ninyo yung mayor.
Pati yung treasurer. I'm just thankful that we have horse sense talaga ang tao na.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We continue on. This is from George Limosnero, a pol-sci major from Ateneo de Davao University. Through your 17 years as mayor, you have fashioned the spirit of the city as one local writer has immortalized it, and I quote, into one of Bernice Steele with a leadership that is strong and uncompromising. From your father, the late Governor Vicente, down to Pulong, who was elected to the local post, what do you think is in the Duterte governance that makes it really click to the Davaoenos?
I don't know about my children because yung siblings, bago pa sila. I can only speak for my father and sa akin. Sa ako naman, sa tatay ko, I can say that he tried his best. I would not pass judgment about who was the best, but he tried his best. Me, I would refuse to talk about myself because I am me and I am I. And, you know, you do not pull your own chair. Neither should you berate yourself or belittle your achievements. So I leave it to the people of Davao City to decide. Maybe when I'm gone, hindi na sila matakot magsabi. Baka takot lang sila. For my daughter and son, they have to prove their worth, their mettle. Bago pa kasi. Bago, I have faith that they would abide by the values that I passed to them, which I got from my father.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. We continue on. This is from Cardo of Sasa, Davao City. Since January 4, you are now on leave as city mayor to give way for the Commission on Audit's probe on the alleged corruption in the construction of the 71 million peso People's Park. You also vowed to resign if auditors discover even a centavo loss to corruption.
10 pesos. Centavo, talagang sigurado mag-resign ako niyan.
Okay, so that's, 10 pesos as you have mentioned.
May
But the
variant,
text here says centavo. Okay, there have been surmises that this move stemmed from the tirades of the late Batman Lintuan. What is your say? Ngayong nahuli na po ang isa sa mga suspects sa pagpatay kay Ferdinand Batman Lintuan na alaman mong kasama din siya sa estasyon ng kanyang pinagtatrabahuan. Ano po sa tingin nyo ang hahantungan ng kasong ito?
I'm not satisfied until there's a case filed. Until I say a prima facie case there. A standard of which I'll be using as a prosecutor na makita ko na may prima facie dyan. Otherwise, at this point, I'm not satisfied. So I'm not even saying that he's the one or he's not. Give me something more substantial than just being a suspect or suspicion or a confession if he's detained. I'd like to see a complaint, whatever, a result of an investigation that shows that there's a prima facie case, then I believe it.
Thank you, Mayor. We continue on. This is from Chimi. Who do you think is qualified to manage the operations of the newly opened People's Park? Do you recommend somebody for the post?
I'm trying to sort out people, so I do not have an answer right now for that question.
Thank you, Mayor. We continue on. This is from Ricky Turalba, an OFW listener via the www.sunshineradio.com in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Peace and order is one of Davao City's main forte that made it to gain national and even international mileage. Will this still be the first priority of your governance this 2008?
It has always been. And ano na yan, I said that's mostly direction. We make the city very dangerous for criminals. Ngayon, kayong nakikinig, human rights, kayong mga rightists, leftists, kayong mga criminal, if you can understand what I'm saying, I'm sure that you'd have an inkling of, at least an inkling of what I'm trying to say to you, aside from the talkative. Alam mo ninyo, may I say that this city is very dangerous for criminals. There's a lot of talkatives there, but if you can get the real meaning of what I'm trying to say, it would be good for everybody, especially the criminals, because sila yung tatamaan. And they're the first to suffer.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We continue on. This is from Lisbeth Cordial, a Sunshine TV 43 viewer in Panabo City. Do you think there is going to be a Nograles-Duterte showdown in 2010?
I don't know. I don't know. We have to deal with the imponderables of life. I don't know. But besides, I'm disqualified. So it has to be, if there's going to be a Duterte who would run, if at all, it's going to be Inday. Because she's the vice mayor. The logical is, even it's vacated by the father, so baka the natural flow is that she would take my place. And I said she has to prove herself that she is capable of being mayor and run the city.
Thank you so much, Mayor. This is from Lovely of Holy Cross of Davao College. DPWH has promised the Bangkeruhan Bridge reconstruction to be over in 210 days. Are you hopeful that this will push through, Mayor? Mag-iisang taon na nang ito ay nasira at hindi pa rin naaaksyonan. Traffic kaayo, Mayor.
Well, the latest was that the barge which was going to be used there para bang to carry also to transport the materials got stuck daw somewhere in Cotabato. So, as I have said, hindi naman ako naghugas ng kamay because I would still be a part of government somehow. Wala talaga. I do not see any light at the end of the tunnel. As of now, we are in a tunnel and we are walking, I don't know to what direction. Wala pa akong nakitang any light. Bagay, year 2008 pa na. Baka year 2021, tapos na yan.
Okay. Pastor, we know that we are almost going over time, but we still have a lot of text messages.
That's fine with
okay? Okay, Mayor. Thank you so much. This is from Jello of JH Hardware, listening via the XRD 711 Sunshine Radio. Good evening, Mayor. Ito po ay patungkol sa billboard na issue. Si Vice Mayor Sara po ay nagpahayag kamakailan na ayaw na niyang payagan ng mga billboard owner na magpatayo pa ng mga billboard sa syudad dahil di umano maraming nadidisgrasya. Ano naman po ang stand niyo dito, Mayor? Kung ako naman po ang tatanungin, sang-ayon po ako kay Vice Mayor. Kung hindi man dagdagan, dapat ay alisin na lang ang lahat ng billboards. Ang pangit po kasing tingnan.
You know, there are laws governing these things about the erecting of structures. If it is not really unlawful, you cannot stop it. You can only stop it if it does not conform to the requirements or the regulations of government. But altogether stopping it, I do not think that you can do it. Simply because that kind of activity is not unlawful. And that would be a violation of the Constitution. To expression and livelihood, pursuit of happiness and everything. Kasi yung billboard is a recognized activity of a democratic society. And if the landowner allows it, and you build the representation there in accordance with the measurements governing or imposed by government, you cannot stop it. Now, if there is no permit to build it, the structure, or the structural engineers would say that the foundation or the whole thing is weak, that it could be blown away. Kasi malapad yan, it's a flat surface. It can hit the winds can hit it, or can hit the winds and might cause a collapse. Then that is something for the experts to say. That's the structural engineers. But if these things are qualified, just like Adarna, kung applyan lang niya yan, I don't think that Probably what the Vice Mayor was saying is that yung mga, sabi nga niya, illegal, yung masyadong malaki na, it's out of bounds in the sense that it's too big. I think ang mahirap kasi dyan is if you build a flat surface sa taas, and there's you can never tell about winds and wind channels and everything. It can really cause danger to parang ganon. It depends if it's built on solid structure, yung what's being represented there. Pero you have to follow certain regulations. If the regulations imposed by government are complied with, there is no reason why they cannot be there. So, yung statement ni Vice Mayor, maybe for those that are illegally cut or constructed or no permit whatsoever. But if it's a livelihood and the right to happiness and freedom of expression. Alam mo kasi yung dyan, mga billboard, it's the expression. So it's business, but actually it's a part of a constitutional guarantee for you to earn a living and freedom of expression. Ngayon, sabi nga nila yung nakabikini-bikini dyan, tinanggal sa Manila yung... Well, ako, hindi naman, it's not really pornographic to me, but kasi kung malaki na masyado, it's visible to everybody. And para sa akin yung mga swimsuit siguro. Pero yung mga bikini-bikini, kind of, maybe good taste lang. Just say na wag yung masyadong Because yung mga bata kasi magtingin eh.
Okay, Mayor. Thank you so much. We continue on. This is a text from Luisito Herminio III, the Sunshine TV 39 viewer in Bulacan. Magandang gabi po, Mayor Duterte at Pastor. Ano po ang masasabi niyo sa pagkaka-extend ng term ni AFP Chief of Staff Hermogenes Esperon? Madami ang nagsasabi na baka may state of emergency na magaganap sa loob ng 3 months.
Well, whether there is an emergency or not, that is the privilege of the President. We cannot question that. But as to whether of competence and capability and everything, he has it. John Esperon is capable. It's a question of lengthening the period. It's a presidential prerogative, which we do not question. Pero kung sabihin mo kung kaya na mabait siya lahat, he's good. And he's competent. And if there's one in the offing within the 3 months of his extension, then Esperon has to deal with it.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is from George of Cotabato City. Good evening, Mayor. There are 3 Dutertes in the local government in Davao. Is this some sort of political dynasty?
You have to give it another about mga 5 to 10 years. A political dynasty is just, yung kailan lang yan eh. A dynasty connotes a long period of time. Kaya ng dynasty ng kings, yung mga dynasty ng China na covering a period of centuries. Ito, magkasunod lang yung election. It's too early to be talking about dynasty. But whether or not it's good to have 3 Dutertes in government, especially sa city government, you have to ask the people. Kasi people yung nagboto eh. Ako, as a father, I cannot control my children. Pulong Duterte filed this. Of course, nung nandoon na, susuportahan ko na anak ko eh. But as God is my witness, I really did not know that he was going to make a go for it. Sa China ako nung tumawag ang si Bongo, sinabi nag-file lang. And I was quite in a quandary because may mga tao ako na political, mga kabarangay captain, nagsabi na sa akin noon na magtakbo sila. So nung nag-file yung anak ko, naipit ako. And right at that moment, na-forsake ko na this Pulong will be ABC president and get to be a councilor.
Basically, want me to saw the mud off.
Saw the mud off. So you cut a little